Holler if you hear me, and welcome to tonight's edition of Art Uncensored. It is the top of the hour, 10 p.m. Eastern, and we are here and together to go and draw the one and only Jubilation Lee for the first time in a while, on account of now that we went and did Fire and Ice, which was a great experience to finally get those characters drawn for the first time in a while, because I'd forgotten about them being two prominent figures in the early breakout success of Adam Hughes. And also now with Jubilee, we can get back into replenishing the Marvel color drawings category of the store. And there's also another big announcement I have to make, which is that today, a couple hours before we went live, I got an email from our friends over at Mixum, the printing service I swear by, where, yes, the print run of issue 4 of Encrypted just shipped. And remember, the estimated arrival of the print run is to be the 29th, which is going to be just less than a week before this. Because remember, today officially, this time tomorrow, this time next week will be when issue 5 of Encrypted will launch as a pre-order. And in the week leading up to that, I will go and color the cover to issue 5 so we can get all that up and ready. And I've been on the move, and we still have 7 of the 12 issues I've dedicated to the series already done. So we are up and moving onwards and upwards with maintaining the schedule we've got. And if it does arrive before the estimated arrival time of Wednesday, then that'll give me extra time to go and be able to get it shipped to all of you. But should it arrive then, I still will try to go and with our friends over at UPS, I'll go and see if I can get it an overnight delivery to everybody. And also, besides that, you've got your chances there for issues 1 or 2 or 3. Still plenty of those print runs available for anybody new to this and anybody new to the series as will be coming in. And there will be, of course, something that issue 9 will be something very particularly affiliated with the month of Halloween, since, yes, we will be doing that in October, issue 9. So I'll be making sure to have that, the time we do it line up with that era. And I think it will be a good time, but nothing that explicitly brings up Halloween specifically, because the actual shipping and printing of it and all that will be next May. So having it being horror related to fit with the month, but not having it so explicitly dated to a certain holiday, because I've always found that odd about like comic books when they have such a specifically holiday themed issue or whatever, and then you look at when it's the cover date and it is so far away from that. Like that final issue of the X-Men that John Byrne and Chris Claremont did together was a Christmas issue, and I think it was like April when it actually was published. Or the if you remember that first year of The Authority with Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch doing it, the final issue ends with the Y2K, and I believe it was already like March 2000 when issue 12 was on the shelves, if I remember right. So that's why holiday things like that, specifically, like I mentioned before about doing something where there would be at least a 3-page little backup Christmas story that I would want to put into issue 6 of Encrypted, because that'll be arriving, that'll be printing and shipping to everybody in November. That'll be leading up to Christmas, so that would fit better at least than if I were going to do like a full Christmas themed issue in December, and then it'll be like June will be when it's coming out. Hence why all that Hallmark stuff, you see all those kind of Hallmark movies or those kind of like TV productions that have Christmas themed episodes, except for the ones that are going live, pretty much film all their stuff in June, so that then it can actually be edited and read and all that for once we get to late November at least. That's just how it is. That's just how it goes. And hey, that especially with being a cartoonist, it's a much quicker production time, as well as I don't have a cast and crew to have to put up with. I don't have distributors or financiers and all that to deal with. Financiers are, those of you who are buying my comics, so that then I can go and keep the comic in print and go on and print this, following issues. It is you being the publisher, you being the producer, you being the financier, on. That way that goes. Exactly, up and already. And since we are doing, Jubilee tonight, I thought it would be perfect to go and have ourselves an actual, for, one of the Asian goddesses of the X-Men right there. Why not have little Miss Kiana Tom right here, if you remember her time on hosting the show Flex Appeal on ESPN2. It was a lady fitness show where That was on, and also you might remember her from Universal Soldier: The Return as being like a Van Damme's like a military sidekick who then becomes she gets made into one of the Unisouls later in the movie. Yeah, well then not so long after that, this was May 2002. So yes, ESPN fitness queen Kiana Tom right here. I thought, well, it fit, and I had already done the Kelly Hu tracing for Lady Deathstrike recently. So, well, I thought might as well do someone new. And hey, there we go. Because yes, I still have all those tracings of Kelly Hu, and I do have an earlier issue of Maxim where the cover spread was of Lucy Liu. So those are ones I could also go and trace off for doing for any subsequent illustrations I would do of either a Lady Deathstrike or Jubilee in the future, or Psylocke, of course. But remember, also the big deal is I mentioned the big thing would be the tracing paper for it. With now learning my lesson about how the best tracing paper brand out there is the tracing paper that is produced by our friends over at Hobby Lobby. They make the best kind where it's a very nice, good, transparent wax kind of look to it, where you can very easily put that paper over the piece. And so long as you've got some good bright lights in and down at you, you can trace it very accurately, very cleanly, barring whether or not it's like a really dark photo and there's a lot of heavy shadow or things like that. Then that's where, it can be difficult. But, beyond that, on we will be going and moving, plumbing we will go, a tracing we will go, and don't forget that we are just going forward also with not just the future issues of Encrypted, but also going and tracing and moving and onwards and upwards with doing Justice for One. And now Justice for One is still scheduled to go and be ready for the year after we finish doing Encrypted. And the plan on whether or not to do it on a bi-monthly schedule like Encrypted or a monthly schedule to have the whole series out of the way, banged out in a year. And maybe also just for the ability to show that, yes, I can go and do a monthly series would be something great after that. And then, of course, now after going and upping my game from bi-monthly to monthly and pulling it off, then I'll be then I'll be doing standalone comics that are going to be done quarterly, or at least the hope to do, on a quarterly publishing schedule of doing standalone comics for then the year after we finish Justice for One. Whether it is bi-monthly or monthly, still the plan is after that, then we get Pain Machines and we get Slick printed and published for all of you to see. And the experience of all this newer stuff I've been doing that I've actually been printing and making, then going back to the very first thing I really, really completed and was dedicated to finally seeing the light of day, well, that'll be nice. And, also don't forget about those and the process also with our friends over at the Copyright Office when it comes to copywriting issue by issue and all that. Because when it comes to copyrights and trademarks, that's why, now with certain things becoming public domain or are about to become public domain, like when it comes to the work of Conan the Barbarian, the original Robert E. Howard stories, those Robert E. Howard stories themselves are all now in the public domain. So theoretically, you could go and, reprint them yourself, or you can go and do like a comic adaptation of them. But there's still, things pertaining to Conan that you cannot use, like, say, using a particular logo affiliated with the character, because those are more recent. So that means that a copyright and or trademark, because remember, there's copyright and trademark, but you can't go and use the trademarked logo for Conan to do that comic adaptation or that reprint of, Tower of the Elephant or the rest of the Howard Conan stories. But those kind of, if you know what to do and those kind of workarounds and those kind of legal hurdles to be able to duck and dodge and dip and dive around, then yeah, you can do that successfully. So maybe in the future, you might see a little something like that, when it comes to our quarterly schedule that we'll be having after Justice for One is done. But, of course, as in after Slick and after Pain Machines, seeing what it is we'll be having in that future is really going to be the big schedule, the big way to go. because some of us have to be industrious. Some of us have to not be like those idiotic college students that Steven Crowder was talking about last night. I mean, there's a reason that you won't be seeing me in California anytime soon. And, well, our friend Steven Crowder also had a nice little thing to say about that.
Greetings, Mug Club. Let's take a journey.
I know a place where the class division's deeper. Well, crime is wild. There must be something in the water.
A lot of microplastics and maybe some fentanyl.
Sipping gin and juice. The homeless underneath the palm tree.
Yes. Right there in Venice Beach, all those homeless people. Yes. And then MSNBC tried to, dodge that and defend it by then being flat out caught and making shit up about homeless encampments in Florida that it turns out they were not homeless encampments. It was footage of illegal immigration detainee centers that MSNBC was falsely reporting as being homeless encampments in California. Homeless encampments in Florida to deflect from all of the factual reporting on homeless encampments in California from either, Fox News or from independent conservative, news sources out there like Crowder and what have you.
And
I was never suspected of wrong.
Their mistresses from Beijing. She was. You can travel the world.
Yes, good mole Eric Swalwell, who was, fucking and giving government secrets away to a Chinese spy. And well, look at how long that took for that little piece of crap to actually get the punishment he deserves. But if you dare interfere with the Clintons, then they will stop at nothing. They will chase round the moons of Nebune and round the Taurus Maelstrom and round Perdition's flames before they give up punishing you for interfering with the power of Bill and Hillary. And that is something that that irrefutably cannot be denied anymore. And yes, hello to Nick right there in the middle of this. This is one of those examples of like the best of Weird Al's work in music, where the parodies that Weird Al will do or end up being better than the original song he was spoofing. This is one of those for sure. Although, don't be surprised if it turns out Weird Al would be angry hearing somebody, daring to make fun of California this way. Yes. Well, that's definitely one of those. It's funny because it's true situations there. Like, if you remember Weird Al in the mid 90s when he did the parody of Gangsta Paradise that apparently made Coolio very, very mad. He publicly talked about how much it offended him because Gangsta Paradise was too serious a song to make fun of. And then within a couple of years of that, Coolio is doing the opening theme to Kenan and Kel on Nickelodeon. Yes, Gangsta Paradise was too serious to make fun of, but then the same rapper behind that song is going to do the opening theme to a Nickelodeon show. Yeah. And then you wonder why Weird Al had a career that had a longer shelf life to it than most of the musical acts he would spoof. Yes, and also the fact that, Weird Al Yankovic was smart to not always try to perpetually keep himself in the limelight. Like, as big as he was in the 80s, and he was there consistently throughout the 80s, but then after UHF, his big attempt at a movie failed at the box office, then there were a couple years there where he just disappeared. But instead of, just calling it a career or getting whatever kind of desperate work he could, like on the side, he kept himself as, like, a headlining performer, by then coming back into the world in the early 90s with a new album and the big leadoff single of that being a spoof of Smells Like Teen Spirit. And, having a big run where he would have, albums out and do them well, but have times in between, where he'd be performing and then you would not see him performing. Like, it was the Alapalooza was the album he did with the Jurassic Park spoof. He even made fun of the logo. And in the music video for the Jurassic Park's parody Al did, where it's all in claymation. And I think it was on that album. I could be wrong, but it was either no, it was another one. Yeah, because the Alapalooza, and then the next album was the album that had the Gangsta Paradise parody that I think won Weird Al Grammys and all that. Yeah, who else remembers that? Or, I'm not saying the movie was bad or anything. I haven't seen it, but who else out there saw the movie that they did about Al Yankovic's career with Harry Potter playing him? Yeah, Weird, the Al Yankovic story, where I wonder what he thought of, Harry Potter playing him. But, knowing what that actor's done since Harry Potter trying to get away from the franchise, at least this time he gets to keep his pants on. Unlike that Broadway show he did that was marketed entirely around him being naked on stage with horses. I'm guessing he wanted to do one for Vosh. But yeah, here's the Alapalooza. Of course, the Jurassic Park logo, which was designed by Chip Kidd, who is that graphic designer that did all of those big like paperback books on the DC heroes that were big, I think, in like the late 90s. And yes, he also was the graphic designer behind the Jurassic Park logo. And if they also went and hired him to do this parody, it wouldn't shock me. And still more entertaining than any of the Jurassic World movies, that's for sure. Or actually, this is funny. So in this time, he still had the permed hair and the mustache. He grew his hair out, but it was still, permed like that, and still the mustache. Then eventually he would go with like the straight long hair and clean shaven. Comparing how he looked in the early Naked Gun movies versus how he looks in the newer one. Which, as I've said before, is a sign that, yes, the new Naked Gun movie is something that really was made by people who actually were doing well or right by the franchise by also remembering to have Weird Al appear in it. Because as Weird Al appears in all of the Naked Gun movies, that's one of their hallmarks. And they maintained that, so good on them. And yes, we've got hello to RJ right there. Girasse has had it Park. Oh, that's a Mad Magazine cover. What's this? Is this like the wraparound for the vinyl release of it? He was still I think he's always worn those wacky Hawaiian shirts. The thing that's changed about his look over the years is growing the hair out, not perming it, and pretty much he's been clean shaven since the 2000s. Like another big example was in like the 2000s when he had a new album after he had not been around for a while, and he did that spoof of a Riding Dirty called White and Nerdy, where that guy was a big thing for a while who did Rad and Dirty, and then he pretty much disappeared after that one big hit. While, Weird Al had already been around for 20 years at that point and is still going around. So talk about an example of when the man who knows how to parody well is more of a multi-talented genius that knows what he's doing and is able to have the talent and the staying power to keep going versus, the flash in the pan music star that he was making fun of. Yeah. RJ brings up the newer Naked Gun proves legacy movies need people that love the originals. Yes. As I said in my review, and as I say anytime it's brought up, the new Naked Gun movie, say what you want about The Lonely Island, because it was directed by one of the Lonely Island guys, Akiva Schaffer and Seth MacFarlane being the producer. But when it came to them directing and producing this new Naked Gun, clearly it was made by people who actually liked the other movies and knew what made them work and, studied intensely to go and make this new film, do everything it can to recreate what made those previous films work as comedies. So for that, yes, I commend Akiva Schaffer and Seth MacFarlane. RJ says, I always liked Bad and Fat. I like Bad and Fat, but always felt Fat's instrumentation is better. Oh, yeah, the parody of that he did and remember, when it comes to, I've already talked about Weird Al and his, to success and talent. And, but another thing I'll say is that you have to be really clever to be that stupid on purpose successfully. Like how the writers of the Problem Child movies wound up becoming Oscar-nominated screenwriters behind stuff like The People vs. Larry Flint and Ed Wood. And they got their start doing dopey comedies like The Problem Child and its sequel. And, well, with Weird Al, who's always been, a spoofmeister or whatever, but being able to actually successfully musically replicate what it is that they're doing, but then playing it for laughs, it actually takes skill to convincingly do that. Whether it was, with Madonna or, the Ride and Dirty guy or with Coolio or U2 even. And then, with Michael Jackson, because Michael Jackson, another thing about Jackson's impact and quality and, his icon status was also making other big, long-running musical acts on the back of him. Because remember, Al Yankovic's big break was when he spoofed Beat It. I think that was like his first big breakout single right down to the music video was when Weird Al did Eat It. And then not too long afterwards, when you had Bad coming out, then you had Weird Al doing Fat. And at that point, I'm guessing, Jackson liked his spoof so much that he went and let Weird Al go and shoot the video on the sets they had for when they did a version of Bad with the little kids in Moonwalker. If you remember the Moonwalker movie Jackson did where they did a recreation of the Bad video, but it's all with children. And that set they had for that, they went and were able to use for Fat that Al did for his album. And how he's able to dance in the giant weird fat suit. Although I could say also that the fat Weird Al face might scare people. It depends on your disposition. But let's go and see that. Or actually, here's the I'm not sure if this was the cover to the album itself or just to the single of this one particular song. But yes, Fat. Right down to even having the same graffiti-style logo from the Bad album. All right, let's get a bigger one. Yeah, here from Mubi of all places. Yes. Do you find that funny or do you find that scary, the fat Weird Al face? It doesn't scare me, but I could see it scaring somebody. Like when, what was it, the Nostalgia Critic did that one bit about who was it? Oh, yeah, the Count Chocula mascot for a while was live action, and he screamed in terror at the sight of it, like, oh my God, it looks like Forrest Whitaker mixed with fat Weird Al Yankovic. And RJ says that Michael turned down a black or white parody, and Weird Al admitted it was a wise move as the parody wasn't well written. Well, okay. And that's also another thing about him. Like, you see people that do parodies and it's done in malice or it's done with, some type of anger or contempt. for one reason or another. But with Weird Al, his parodies weren't like angry. He wasn't like hating on, when he did Living with a Hernia, that wasn't him like giving the finger to James Brown. Or, I Love Rocky Road, he wasn't like saying, fuck you stupid cunt, to Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. He was just spoofing the song. With Michael Jackson, he was spoofing the songs. And part of that also was him actually getting the permission to go and do the parodies. That's why when Prince died, some TMZ guy caught Weird Al out in public and asked him about, all the people you spoofed, you never parodied Prince. And they want to know why. And he said, well, he had the idea to parody Prince, and Prince didn't give him his permission, so he didn't wind up recording or releasing the ideas for Prince parodies out of respect. He went, okay, and also promised that, yeah, I won't ever release what I recorded of Prince parodies out of respect. So, okay. And then with that case of, doing, apparently Weird Al even thought that, it was not well written when he spoofed Black or White. And also the fact that, Jackson had approved of Yankovic's parodies already so much. But I mean, hey, one time out of 3 where the King of Pop says no, I mean, hey, considering the first time he said yes, and it irrefutably launched Weird Al's career, as well as him also having a strong connection with MTV, almost as big as any other musical act of the 80s, where how, consistently when Yankovic had new stuff on, not only was it when he had new videos for new songs, but even in between that, when he would go and do the Al TV segments, you remember? If you ever saw those, I remember seeing one in the 2000s where they had, it was a Al TV, whereas these segments they would do with Weird Al, where it would be him pretending to interview celebrities, but it would be, the thing they would do was that they would shoot individually Weird Al giving all these questions to music stars, and they would edit them out of context into pre-existing interviews with those pop stars or singers. And this was something that they would do on and off from the 80s into the 2000s. I remember the one I saw of him doing it was one with Eminem around the time that, 8 Mile was all over the place. And they did Al TV interview with Al and Eminem, where Al even goes and puts in a joke at Eminem's expense about how Yankovic wanting to parody Lose Yourself, and them approaching Eminem about it, but saying that they could release the song, but they couldn't do a music video of it. Yeah, it was called Couch Potato. It was Weird Al's spoof of Lose Yourself that I think was on the same album with the White and Nerdy. And they played it, but they didn't do a single or video for it. And then not too long after that, there was remember Trapped in the Drive-Thru? It was a cartoon parody that Al did of Trapped in the Closet, which is, the only one that is a questionable choice of which talent to associate yourself with Weird Al between, yes, Michael Jackson was innocent. He proved his innocence in court, and it's complete horseshit, but still so many people in the showbiz world, consistently doing so many parodies of Michael Jackson would, in long term, probably fuck with your prospects. Luckily for him, it didn't. But also with Weird Al, the fact that he went and, spoofed R. Kelly with Trapped in the Drive-Thru. And then I think around that same era, it was one of those few big single original songs that Weird Al did called Close But No Cigar that had a music video animated by Ren and Stimpy creator and cheese pizza lover John Kricfalusi. It speaks to the talent and legacy and connections and goodwill of Weird Al in and outside of the business, that he can be, he can owe his the breakout of his career to Michael Jackson and work with John Kricfalusi, and also go and spoof, R. Kelly, and he's able to go and live past all that. He's able to get past all that and keep on going with whatever it is he's going to do next. And yes, Fat and also Eat It are both classic Michael parodies. And I would show them to you, but, copyright shit hammer. Maybe one of the Al TV interviews we might be able to get past. Like I said, the first one I ever saw was just one random afternoon on MTV, was an Al TV segment they did where it's Weird Al fake interviewing Eminem, where they just take some pre-existing interview with Eminem and they edit answers out of context with Yankovic pretending to have interviewed him. If I can get that, let's see. Al TV, Eminem. Weird about the allegation. 2 tag words.
Under a moon so bright, King Bear soaked in his kingdom and wished it all.
So many videos on here open with this for me. Like I said, it reminds me of the Pacific Bell commercial, the one Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels are crying over in Dumb and Dumber. At Pacific Bell.
Welcome back to Al TV. Right now it's time for our exclusive interview with Mr. Marshall Mathers, also known as Eminem, also known as The Real Slim Shady, also known as Missy Misdemeanor Elliott. We'll follow his startling transformation from hardcore Alf fan to...
That's a real picture. I mean, you can't get angry at someone making fun of you for wearing an Alf shirt if there's an actual Polaroid floating around of you in an Alf shirt. Or you looking like the other guy from Bill and Ted. I've seen other photos of Eminem in high school where that also makes him look so much like the other guy from Bill and Ted. I think it's that the computer or router uses any data pertaining to buying books online. Well, yeah, there could be that. You know, the way Google mines your information like that, or, if a website uses cookies.
Or Alf fan to hardcore rapper. This is indeed a pleasure. Marshall, welcome to Al TV. I'm sorry, should I call you Marshall or Missy?
Marshall, you know what I'm saying?
Well, Marshall it is then. Hope it wasn't out of line to ask.
No, it wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Because, I wouldn't want you to be offended.
And I'm not. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
I told you.
You know what I'm saying?
Look,
You know what I'm saying?
I said that.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know what you're saying, all right?
Whatever.
Anyway, thanks for being on the show. We've had a lot of great guests dropping by. Have you ever met Celine Dion?
I have felt like killing her before.
Well, obviously, we all have. Ever felt like killing anybody else?
In case you wonder why, Celine Dion didn't sign off on any parodies, because come on, whether you like the movie or not, how big My Heart Will Go On was, you don't think that Weird Al could have come up with a parody for that? We know he could have, but maybe it was the jokes like that might have something to do with it. I've thought about killing her before.
Most of my family members.
That's nice. Which reminds me, do you feel that you owe at least part of your success to the loving support that your family has given you over the years?
I don't owe nobody in my family nothing.
You don't owe nobody in your family nothing? Wow, that's a triple negative. Does that mean that you do owe somebody in your family something?
It's like, it's up to you to decide,
Oh, I almost forgot. I know it's your favorite, so I made you a Twinkie Wiener sandwich.
I knew you'd make it.
But before I give it to you, I
just want to make sure you're not going to go into your Ken Kniff alter ego and start acting like you're getting fellatio from the Insane Clown Posse, because I still have nightmares about hearing that on the Marshall Mathers LP. Oh, suck it. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, no, take it out. Oh, now give some over to Jay. Oh, violent Jay. Don't bite it, don't be violent with it, just suck it. Nice and slowly. Oh, no, give it back to Shaggy, he was sucking it better. What's my name? Eminem. What's my name? Eminem. What? Oh, fuck you guys. Give me my dick back. Fuck you guys. If you want Eminem, you can have Eminem. Fuck you guys. I'm a-leaving. Can't wait. Oh, damn. Nice going, Shaggy.
just want you to answer me one simple question. What is the mathematical formula used to determine the area inside a pentadodecahedron?
It's a simple formula. It's a simple formula,
All right, what is it?
you know.
No, I don't know. What is it?
It's easy. I mean, the formula is, first of all, there, you know.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I better just shut up.
Uh-huh. When was the last time you were completely deloused?
Last year.
Well, I've been asking all the questions here. Are there any questions you want to ask me?
You know, how many times can you rhyme tearing me apart, breaking my heart?
Well, let's see. Homer and Bart, medical chart, strawberry tart, served a la carte, back to the start, postmodern art, plastic lawn dart, missing a part, Humphrey Bogart, lighting a fart, and blue light specials each day at Kmart. 11.
You're being an asshole.
Jealous much? Hey, you know, I was wondering, why weren't you at the Academy Awards to pick up your Oscar? Was your macrame class that night?
Yeah.
Bummer. But I noticed that you did show up at the MTV Awards, and you almost got into a fight with Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. Were you afraid that a sock puppet was going to kick your butt?
You know, that was the way I felt at the time, you know.
Well, have you two patched things up, or is your rap war still going on?
Yeah, it's still going on.
That's too bad. You know, I ran into Triumph recently, and he wanted me to tell you that he thinks you're a really excellent rapper for him to poop on. How does that make you feel?
I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It doesn't necessarily hurt my feelings because I kind of expect it. You know what I'm saying?
So tell me, Marshall, how do you feel about censorship in music?
I feel like, you know, I really believe in freedom of speech. I can't even stress that enough. I feel like, especially artistic.
Unless, you know, you vote Trump and then like, I'll sit down, bitch, before I beat the shit out of you. You voted Trump? How can you fucking do this to me? Bleed, bitch, bleed. Don't you give a fuck? Nobody can hear you. So wrong, bitch, you did me so wrong. I don't want to go on living in this world without you. Dear mister, I'm too big to answer my fans. I lock my bitch up in the trunk. Oh, wait, how am I supposed to send this shit out?
Expression, you know, I believe an artist should be an artist and be able to say whatever he wants to say, whether you think it's good or bad, you know.
Uh-huh. So you think, for example, if somebody wanted to do, oh, I don't know, a parody of somebody else's video, they should be able to artistically express themselves and just do it? I'm just busting your chops. I know you said I couldn't do a video for my Lose Yourself parody, but hey, you know, it's your choice.
Yeah, exactly. So
just between you and me, though, don't you think my version of the song is just a little bit better than yours?
And that's kind of what pisses me off.
I knew it. Well, now I don't have a video to promote my new album, Poodle Hat, but, you know, as long as you're happy. You are happy, aren't you? You're happy, right? Because I sure want you to be happy!
Milton loves rocks. So he bought a .rocks domain name with Squarespace.
Yes, the one that then he performed with Elton John at the Grammys where he crashes the car off the bridge. Stan, that was the one, yeah. In the music video, he had the singer whose song he sampled for that, and the quarterback from Little Giants playing the Psycho Fan. Yeah. And then there's, you know, the song Kim, which I remember being completely traumatized when I first heard it. And now looking back, that song sounds like if there was audio of Chris Benoit's house on July 2007. Yes, that well, this one, this isn't even Eminem in on the joke. Like I said, this is a thing that Weird Al would do on MTV, where Weird Al would take a pre-existing interview and edit himself into it and edit the celebrity's answers out of context to make it sound goofy, like basically Space Ghost Coast to Coast a decade before. Space Ghost Coast to Coast would do that with their celebrity interviews. Although then you see, like, if you remember the interview, you know, the funniest part of that movie was the opening with Eminem, where Eminem just randomly comes out of the closet against, much to the surprise of everyone, and he keeps it completely straight-faced. Eminem, the rapper, understands comedy better than James Franco and Seth Rogen. But no, I'm just surprised that people haven't figured it out sooner. I mean, it's like I've been playing gay peekaboo. When people say I rap about women, it's just a thing. Old issue stuff from my mom. When I rap about gay people, people say my lyrics are homophobic. It's because I'm gay. Or, did you say you were gay? And that can mean a lot of things. I'm homosexual, meaning I like men. So you said I had a vasectomy. That way you can't get pregnant if I'm bisexually wrecked yet, Hector. Yeah, Hector's a real person. Hector and his rectum are real. I've been leaving a breadcrumb trail of gayness. And Eminem entirely straight the entire time. Yes, he's in on the joke. And no, okay. Highlight of the movie for sure. Yeah. It's funny. A slang term for a super fan is from a song about a psycho who throws his pregnant girlfriend in the trunk of a car and crashes the car off the bridge like he wants to recreate the bad ending to Silent Hill 2. The in water ending where you beat the game, but then James just drives the car into Toluca Lake. And I've heard contradictory reports on whether or not Mary's corpse is in the trunk.
You're crazy. You're crazy, for real, you're crazy.
Well, since I don't have a video for it, and since this is my stinking show, what do you say we just sit here and listen to the whole song right now? Whoa, no! Oh, what's the matter? Don't you like it?
No, it's ridiculous, it's repetitive, and it gets on my nerves.
Give me a break. I could only change the words. I couldn't change the music, too.
I just think that it's sissy music.
Really? Well, then I imagine you'd really like it.
No, you didn't just say that, you little bitch.
Oh, come on, Marshall. You came out of the closet years ago. Don't be so coy.
That was my personal business.
I mean, well, he did include a skit in one of his albums where he's receiving fellatio from two other men. And, so many rappers are always, when they're beefing and do their, diss tracks, are talking about, someone getting butt fucked or whatever. Remember when Ice Cube went solo and he did the whole NWA diss track called No Vaseline? And now with the revelations of Diddy, what he does, yeah. That's what makes it so funny when you hear, hardcore gangster rap lovers or whatever, and they're talking about how, like metal fans are all gay and weird because, especially in the 80s with all the glammed up, hair and makeup and the tight clothes and all that. And then all those Motley Crues and Kiss style bands in the 80s and 70s were all marrying playmates and divorcing them and marrying new playmates and all that. And then it turns out that in the rap game, everyone's so hardcore, so gangsta, so badass. And, well, it goes more than just homoerotic violent threats to people make them angry. It also turns out that, much like with actresses wanting to win Oscars, the key to being a success in the rap game is bottoming for Sean Combs and his freak-offs.
You know what I'm saying?
Marshall, it's okay. You can talk about it now. Do you remember what it was like when you first came out?
Like when I first came out, I noticed the difference. Like when I first came out, when I came out, not many people really understood me or understood where I was coming from.
That must have been tough. I have to admit, I was a little bit nervous about doing this interview.
Relax, guy. I like gay men,
That's great, but I'm not gay.
I don't believe that.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not. What, do you find me attractive or something?
Maybe I do.
Wait, are you hitting on me?
Yeah.
You
don't have anything to say?
Well, I'm flattered, I guess, but I'm just really not interested. Why don't you go hit on Brad Pitt or something?
Yeah, he's cute, but isn't he married, though?
Yeah, I guess so. But look, I'm sorry if you got the wrong impression. I just asked you here so I could interview you. That's all.
You know what I'm saying? Although, yeah, talk about, things that would get you canceled, but then also it's another sign of Weird Al having so much goodwill inside and outside of the business that this hasn't been, brought up by Reddit or Tumblr to try to have his hair caught on fire.
what the this is, this is bullshit to me.
Hey, calm down. I just wanted to talk to you about your music. I happen to think you're very talented and you've got a lot of potential for growth. I see your talent as kind of a little acorn seed. And when that acorn seed is planted and watered and nurtured and allowed to grow, do you know what it eventually becomes?
Fucking tree.
Yeah. Do you think you might possibly have Tourette's syndrome?
For this fucking whatever,
You've got a little potty mouth, don't you?
I don't believe that nobody cannot swear.
You don't believe that nobody cannot swear. Wow, another triple negative. Does that mean that you do believe that somebody... Oh, never mind. So, how do you feel about clean rappers like Will Smith?
I used to respect Will Smith. And when he came out and started talking about, he dissed the whole gender of rap.
The whole gender of rap? Are you sure you don't mean genre? I mean, I don't want to second guess you or anything. You are the Oscar-winning, critically acclaimed wordsmith and all. So, you're a big fan of the gender of rap then, are you?
That is one of the most influential musics out there.
Very well spoken. Well, speaking of rap, we're going to have to wrap up this little interview. I'm actually free after the show. Do you want to maybe go out and do something later?
We'll get some decent looking dudes and
No, Marshall, I told you I'm not into that. How about if we just go bowling instead?
All right.
Great. Well, thanks for coming on the show. And by the way, in case you didn't know, I'm just playing, Marshall. You know I love you.
Right.
We'll be right back.
And now, well, here's some Diddy Funk. Bringing in the Diddy Funk is our friend Ryan Long.
As an artist, formerly on Bad Boy Records in the 90s, I was as horrified as anyone to hear about the P. Diddy allegations. Lately, a lot of you internet weirdos have been going through my back catalog, trying to play with my name, taking lyrics out of context, and trying to find hidden meanings that just aren't there.
Diddy hit my G-spot every time. Yeah, Diddy hit my G-spot. Satisfied. Got a crop of new rappers. Yum, yum. Now it's lunchtime. Diddy getting his, and you know that I'll be getting mine. Free time. Man, you know it's free time.
Yeah, when you're doing crime, real certified Gs need a spot to go where they're going to be surrounded by other real certified Gs. And anyone who's familiar with street terminology knows that shooting up your ops house can be referred to as freak time. Now, if I personally had seen anything sus, I'd be the first one to tell you, because one thing Too Smooth has never been is a liar.
1,000 bottles, drawer full of toys. Back rooms for the bad boys, soundproof, no noise. We never hire a bitch to do a man's job. Got my piece deep inside a man's consoles. Walking phony cause I paid my dues. Last night, I'm walking phony, should have seen the clues. Like the pills in the drink and the phones in the sink and the triple reinforced lock door. Clean, don't think.
1,000 Bottles is a classic track about crime in a club. Drawer full of weapons, gun in your op's mouth. Seeing clues someone's trying to set you up, getting shot, having a limp after. I mean, this is classic gangster shit. If you listen back again, that's pretty obvious. I mean, people are going to hear what they want to hear, but again, if there was anything weird going on, you would know. Too Smooth has always been an open book.
And we keep it on the DL. All the holes we fill. I'm moaning, but I'm the top spot in the morning. Bent over, tell Diddy explode. Ecstasy.
The man has a temper, and if he explodes, obviously the job gets canceled. Filling holes is shooting people, moaning because you get shot. And yes, obviously this type of criminal activity should be kept on the DL. Anyone who knows street life can attest that this isn't some gay innuendo.
I can't sit down, cause it hurts too much. I can't sit down. No pain, no gain. I can't do a number 2 and it's all because of you.
The song's about a fucking breakup. I can't do my number 2 girl because it hurts too much. Y'all are starting to piss me off. Next person to try to lump me in with this zesty shit, it's honestly on site because Too Smooth don't play like that. All right, now that that's cleared up, my new album, Really Hard G's, will be available this Saturday on Rockefeller Records.
Diddy hit my G-spot every time. Yeah, Diddy hit my G-spot. Satisfied. Got a crop of new rappers. Yum, yum. Now it's lunchtime. Diddy getting his.
It's funny noticing it suggested this live stream. I imagine it would make a dimensional rift. Yes, a little something.
There were about 147 times that I woke up in his bed not remembering what happened. Diddy was cuddling me, wearing only a top hat that said anal virginity thief, and as I looked up at the flashing sign above my head that said Rod's ass is my ass, he began pulling household items out of my rectum. I knew something was a little off about those 2 years of unpaid studio sessions where we lived together on his boat, but I've never made a record before, so I just thought maybe it's part of the process to be forced to pose for photos with him wearing matching I'm with penetrated t-shirts with arrows pointing at each other, which were actually somewhat difficult to take off, by the way, since both of our nipples had been pierced and fused together with multiple Prince Albert chains. I remember one night when I was lying naked on the kitchen table while him and his sons were eating sushi off my body, thinking, was this regular protocol for a hip-hop album? Like, is it par for the course for an artist to walk in on you while you're on the toilet and straddle you face to face wearing nothing but a toilet paper turban and try to pee on your dump through the space between your legs, whispering snitches get Dickens into your ear? But again, there was no way for me to know at the time, so I just kept working. I did try to speak up once after the 134th time waking up nude beside him after once again having the Grammy removed from my rectum, and Diddy wanted me to once again go to the strip club to round up 14 prostitutes for him and his son to have sex with while I was hogtied in the chair with my eyeballs duct taped open. And immediately, months after, I asked one of his assistants, I said, is this standard studio procedure? And she said it was, which again, I'm not some Hollywood guy and I don't know. So I had no reason to doubt her. So I just climbed back up to my sex swing producer station and got back to making hits, which for that month generally included walking on all fours with a dildo glued to my forehead while Diddy rode me around the boat, smacking my ass and instructing me to squeal like a pig, a huge part of Diddy's writing process. But if that happened now, I would have said, hold on, something's fishy here. And not just because I would be making a pun about the matching mermaid costumes we were wearing, but because I now know what grooming looks like and I can see it. I've changed a lot. I am now very aware that piano keys do not need to be warmed up inside your body. I'm white now, as you can see, and having a hand up your ass does not actually turn you into a ventriloquist doll with musical powers. Obviously, in an ideal world, I would have known then what I know now, but that is not the world we are living in, and I am suing him.
Yes. The sad thing is that all sounds like something that could have really happened.
Well, it's been a little while since I did a Japanese movie. Was this one made by a certain company that starts with a T and ends with Oho? Okay, didn't get flagged, so hopefully that means I'm good. Zeiram is a 1991 Japanese sci-fi action movie from director Keita Amemiya, who's best known for directing several entries in the Kamen Rider series, as well as creating the Garo franchise. He also did character design work for various video game series like Clock Tower, Final Fantasy, and Onimusha, so if nothing else, this should look pretty cool for a low-budget movie. Unlike a lot of his other films, this one actually got a Western release in the 90s, where it managed to build up a bit of a cult following there. So let's see how Zeiram stacks up 35 years later. Despite the low budget, this opens with a really cool black and white sequence where we see what looks like a samurai-themed version of the Terminator going on a killing spree on some alien planet. You know, the black and white photography combined with weird images like this living kabuki mask thing almost makes this part feel like I'm watching some surreal silent movie. I keep expecting Salvador Dali to slice a woman's eyeball open at any moment. That doesn't happen, but we definitely get some violence.
Now we gotta go help people customize and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Maybe where's the golf cart?
And hello to Donnie.
All right, movie, we're 2 minutes in, and already you've got my attention. We're then informed that Mushroom Head here is actually an alien biological weapon called Zeiram, who escapes to Earth, and he's pursued by two bounty hunters called Iria and Bob. That's right, Bob. Hey, if any country can get away with naming an alien Bob, it's Japan. Well, if the aliens are going to go to Earth, it makes sense they land in Tokyo. That place looked like Blade Runner before it was cool. And if you think this movie's been weird so far, just wait till you meet our human characters.
All right!
Yeah, good idea, pal. Don't make eye contact. So our human protagonists are Kamiya and his partner Tepe, two bumbling electricians who kind of feel out of place with the rest of the movie. And I'm not just saying that because they're dumb uniforms.
The company should be more conservative. Your uniforms are bright enough.
Yeah, and with all those pouches, you look like a 90s Rob Liefeld character. Another advantage to Iria landing in 1991 Tokyo. If she needs any replacement electronic parts, they should be pretty easy to find. By the way, Bob is actually the name of her sentient computer. That makes sense. The 90s were all about computer programs named Bob for some reason.
They are a bit primitive, aren't they?
Oh, just stop complaining, will you?
You can really tell Bob's advanced because he looks like a PlayStation 1 startup screen. Iria's plan to capture Zayram is to trap him in a place called the Zone, which is like a virtual reality construct or a pocket dimension. I don't know. The movie's a little vague as to what exactly it is.
Listen, Bob. Are you sure about the exact point of entry?
Of course, 90% of weird shit like this always happens in Japan. Speaking of weird shit, we're back to these two.
Saisa, sweetheart, these daisies remind me of you. Huh? What?
Okay, again, these guys really don't match the tone of the rest of the movie. Imagine you're watching a cool sci-fi action flick like Aliens, and suddenly Abbott and Costello show up.
Besides, all the other women I know are allergic to flowers.
You sure they're not just allergic to you? Well, while we're waiting for Zayram to arrive, let's learn more about him.
He looks pretty tough.
He is. More than anything we've handled before.
At least there's not two of them.
Well, I got news for you, sweetheart. There actually are two of these movies. 3 if you count the anime.
What should I label this? Guess I might as well use his name.
Yeah, hey, what is his name again?
And hello to Forever right there, along with Donnie coming in, as we've got Jubilee ready to go. Oh, yes. And, of course, they can take a look at what we referenced her from tonight. Along with now, just notice these other ones, MTV Nude, Why We Love Panties, and the Bill O'Reilly interview. And also there's a baseball preview. And I thought the Gina Gershon I was showing you all last night was, standing out.
Oh, right, Zayram. Sorry, we're 15 minutes in, and I wasn't expecting the opening credits to be this late in the movie. I guess the filmmakers wanted to wait so they could show more of Kamiya and Tepe driving around in their Fisher-Price clown car. Anyway, the way these two get involved in the story is they notice that Iria's using an unauthorized electrical hookup to power her equipment.
We'd better pull a plug from the inside.
What for? Let's disconnect it from the pole.
You must be kidding. When we're done, I'll buy you a drink, okay?
Yeah, but I have to go. The girl? Huh?
Oh, that's right. You have an important date, huh? With Yumi.
Well, yeah, but Yumi's just the name of his body pillow. Damn, not only does Iria have an illegal power hookup, but she's been getting HBO for free, too.
Looks like a movie set. These filmmakers are always stealing from us.
Hey, come on, guys. Star Wars won't rip this movie off for several more years. Zayram soon arrives on Earth, and in the process, Kamiya accidentally sends Tepe into the Zone. And if that wasn't bad enough, when Iria goes in to try and rescue him, Kamiya insists on coming along too.
Oh, great. More trouble.
See, even Bob thinks these two shouldn't be here. As far as the Zone goes, it's basically a copy of Tokyo, just with no people in it, which is a good way to save money by not paying extras. All right, fellas, make this quick. The cast of Alice in Borderland needs to use this place in a few hours. Even though they're already in a zone, Iria's had enough of Kamiya's shit and decides to trap him in the Phantom Zone to keep him out of her way. I got to admit, I do like the grungy cyberpunk style of this movie. Even though it's low budget, there is some cool looking tech here, and Zayram is a pretty badass villain, even if Tepe doesn't seem to think he's that threatening.
Excuse me, there seems to be a general failure throughout the area. Did you notice anyone fooling around with the lines?
Okay, normally I'd question why he doesn't think this is weird, but it is Japan. Maybe he just thinks there's an anime convention going on. In any case, he finally figures out that Zayram's ominous backlighting is a sign he should probably flee. Hey, you know something that would make this movie even more awesome?
A very rude ad.
That's right, some stop-motion animation. Admittedly, the man in suit monster isn't quite as good. It looks like if E.T.'s discarded foreskin suddenly came to life. Iria better find a way to stop Zayram.
What a pleasure, Zaram, to finally meet.
Wait, Zaram? I thought it was Zayram. Or, hang on, would it actually be Zyram? Whatever. Maybe it's a Ghidra Ghidorah situation. Iria's in luck. Despite his badass appearance, Zayram's top speed appears to be slasher movie killer. But she's not trying to run away. She's trying to capture it. So how is she going to do that? Oh. Okay, that was pretty easy. There's one thing Iria didn't count on, though. That little kabuki face I mentioned earlier. Yeah, it turns out it's attached to a tentacle that can shoot right out of Zayram's hat. This thing just went from a samurai Terminator to an even more fetishy version of a xenomorph. By the way, if you were expecting any intricately choreographed martial arts sequences here, we don't really get a ton of that. Most of the action sequences just consist of the characters slowly advancing on each other while firing guns, but at least we get some nice explosions, as well as a few other things. Okay, so she's definitely dead. Just kidding, she's fine. And come on, it's a Japanese movie. We gotta have a transformation sequence. Just be glad this one doesn't go on for like 2 minutes. Now that Iria's gone full VR Troopers, it's time for her to fight some goofy rubber monsters. Okay, these cancerous scrotum monsters didn't look that great in the dark, and they really don't look that good in the light. Actually, they kind of remind me of the aliens at the beginning of Night of the Creeps. Well, at least we get to watch these ones die. Okay, so Iria uses her space universal remote thingy to trap Zayram in a crystal. Wait, so does that mean the movie's over?
Wait a minute, I detect movement behind you.
Ah, hold on.
Oh, right, I forgot about these two.
I'd forgotten about you two.
Huh?
And so did she, apparently.
That was to show you. You're now in a different continuum than the world you're used to.
I'm thinking about making a web series about this place called Back Zones. I think it'll really take off. Before Iria's able to send everybody back, another tumor monster comes in and gets sent back with her and ends up damaging some of her equipment. Okay, these monsters are a little silly, but at least he gets a cool death.
I'm afraid we've got a problem. That thing blew out the transembler.
All right, but what about the discombobutron? Is that okay? Bad news, fellas. You're trapped in the zone. And even worse, we gotta watch you try and kill screen time.
What exactly is this place?
Well, let me try to explain. It's like the whole town has actually been reassembled here, but without anybody in it.
Okay, here's my biggest problem with this movie. We've got a pretty cool premise, a bounty hunter trying to capture a killer alien monster, and then the movie sidelines her so we can focus on these two for some reason. Kamiya and Tepe are supposed to be the comic relief, I guess, as well as audience surrogates so they can get all the weird shit explained to them, but it feels like they walked in from a completely different movie. And even though this movie's only a little over an hour and a half, most of their scenes feel like filler.
You know, if this thing is a radio, maybe we could... I'll never be able to figure this thing out. I don't know what it is. Want to see it?
No.
You could say that just Iria fighting Zayram wouldn't be enough to sustain a whole movie, but it's not unusual for Japanese sci-fi action flicks like this to be an hour or shorter. In fact, this director even went on to make some movies like this that were under an hour, so he probably should have just done that. Anyway, yet another melted ET monster attacks them. When they try to shoot it with Iria's weapons, they end up accidentally...
Yes, it's not a tumor, it's a scrotum.
Freeing Zayram. Oh, great. This is even worse than the time you two idiots ended up freeing Rita Repulsa. What's more, Iria still can't get back into the zone.
The situation calls for me to run a complete system analysis, so just relax.
Look, just try rebooting Bob, and if that doesn't work, unplug him for 30 seconds and then plug him back in again. These guys might end up killing themselves before Zayram gets them.
I walked into a wall.
Huh? What in the world?
Well, yeah, you're in a virtual environment and it's the early 90s. There's going to be some invisible walls to save on memory. It was either that or surround the place with water. What the hell is Iria going to do?
I think I can get them to fight for us.
Yeah, bad idea, Iria. Every time these two have used your weapons, they just screwed things up even more. And besides, what are these two doofuses going to possibly do against Zayram?
Get him! Get him!
You want to see something cool?
Oh, okay, I guess that works.
He might be dead.
Not a chance, pal. There's still 45 minutes left. For your sake, you better hope it's not a reproductive organ. They managed to get away, but not before it's able to tear off a piece of Camilla's forearm. And if you'd like to know more about how this thing works...
See this face? That's what's going to give us trouble.
Zeram uses that appendage to ingest organic matter. He absorbs living organisms, then makes use of their cells as needed.
So it eats. Thanks, Bob.
Zeram is an artificial organic weapon. He uses living cells he ingests either for nutrition.
And I also agree about, yeah, it was I mean, Big Bad Beetleborgs was cool for a bit, and it didn't make it past its first season, though, really. VR Troopers was another one that also should have been bigger.
Okay, so it eats, and instead of pooping, it just makes more of these things. I guess that explains why they look like walking pieces of crap.
The important thing is, if we plan to stop him, we shouldn't waste firepower trying to destroy his body. The crucial element to neutralize is his head.
And if it starts blinking red, that's how you know his energy bar is almost empty. As much as I joke, I do dig a lot of the creature effects in this. This is the kind of weird, wacky shit that Japanese cinema excels at. And if you still don't believe me... Ugh, please tell me that was his mouth that just came out of. And I don't even want to know what that fluid is. Well, congratulations, Zayram. You just gave birth to a half-digested Billy Corgan. All right, actually, I think this is a clone of Camilla made with his DNA after it bit his arm. But Zayram quickly realizes that one Camilla is enough for this movie. Case in point, these two are still pointlessly killing screen time with more filler.
They're all gonna wonder where I've gone.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Is everybody happy? All right, let's party!
Hey, isn't Camilla supposed to be here?
Yeah. He should be there. Instead, he's messing up my Japanese sci-fi movie.
He thinks he's such a comedian. And you know what? He's about as funny as a sneeze.
Thanks, movie. That was a really necessary scene. Oh, they're still doing more shtick? Okay, then.
Well, I'm getting pretty hungry. I might give it a try.
You gotta be kidding. Don't do it, Teppy.
Congratulations, Tepe. You're now pregnant with that thing's eggs. Instead of going back into the zone herself, Iria decides to send these two some equipment so they can fight Zayram themselves. What's more, they only have a limited amount of time before the zone disappears. And if you're wondering how Iria is able to send equipment but can't go back into the zone herself, good question, because they never really addressed that.
Whose voice have we been hearing?
That's my partner, Bob.
Your partner's name is Bob? What's the monster's name, Steve?
You're living on borrowed time, Zeram.
And again, I still think Zayram sounds better. Okay, you see what I mean about this movie? Right now, we should be watching Iria kicking ass and fighting Zayram, and instead it's up to these two.
I should have managed everything better. Those guys never should have been involved.
You are not the only one who feels that way, lady. Oh, well, I'm sure Camilla and Tepe are up to the challenge.
Eat this!
Or not.
Camilla.
Forget it, Tepe. A bunch of empty beer crates fell on him. Nobody could possibly survive that. To help him out, Iria decides to send him a weapon called the Medea's Cannon. However, they can't send the weapon right to him, so he has to go find it. Congratulations, Tepe. Your days as a bento box delivery man will not have been in vain. You know, I got to give props to the stunt team here. This was a low-budget production and probably didn't have a lot of safety protocols, and some of those explosions look pretty damn close. Speaking of close, you probably should have just drove around the hulking alien monster instead of going right next to him. What the hell is he going to do now? Yeah, that's right. Kamiya's alive. Get away from him, you mushroom-headed bitch. Actually, even though I'm referencing aliens, this is way closer to Carnosaur 2. Hopefully Kamiya can stop this thing. Hey, what do you know? Some comic relief from these two that's actually pretty funny. Oh, good. Erie is back. I was worried the rest of the movie was just going to be her giving instructions with her space walkie-talkie instead of actually fighting Zayram.
This ought to do it.
Nice job. Probably would have used that weapon earlier, but nice job. And hey, you know something that would make this movie even more awesome? That's right. More stop motion animation.
Ilya, you have to shoot him again.
I can't. I only brought one round.
Okay, Iria, here's a tip. Whatever your best weapons and equipment are, just bring all of them next time. Special effects by Ray Harryhausen. That's Ray spelled R-E-I. Oh, and that bazooka thing Iria just used? Yeah, turns out that wasn't the Medea's cannon. Instead, Tweedledum and Tweedledee here have to go find it while she keeps Zayram busy. This is like in a video game where you have to run away from the boss monster until somebody tosses you a rocket launcher. And once again, props to the stunt team on this movie. And just their luck, they found the weapon, but it was sent in the form of a model kit they have to assemble. And I wasn't joking about Iria needing to have somebody toss her the weapon to kill the boss either. Yeah, Zay rammed that up your ass, motherfucker. And don't worry about your bounty. Its head is still alive, so you can just capture that. I did mention there was a sequel after all. Okay, so can they get out of there now?
Bob, can you hear me?
Yes, in case you were wondering, 8 minutes to dissolution.
All right, look, I did a Resident Evil countdown gag a couple episodes ago, so just teleport him out of there. Okay, you're back. Now you just have to move Zayram off the teleporter. You had one job, guys. So I guess the kabuki face tentacle thing was actually the real Zayram the whole time? The hat was really wearing the monster? Well, whatever. As long as we get more stop motion and freaky-ass body horror creature effects. This one looks like something out of David Cronenberg's sketchbook after he caught an afternoon screening of The Thing.
He keeps on coming back. How many times do we have to kill him?
These guys really shouldn't be surprised. Bosses in Japanese video games usually go through several forms before they're defeated. Only one thing can stop.
Is this the one-winged angel form of it?
Stop it now. Piling furniture on it. Uh-oh, the zone's starting to break down and Bob doesn't have a memory card inserted. That means if Iria doesn't get out of there, she won't be able to save her progress and she'll have to start all over again.
The cable has been damaged. Perhaps you're familiar enough with electronics that you can fix it.
Okay, I guess they needed some justification for 2 electricians to be here. Although I still stand by that having them all be badass alien bounty hunters would have been better. Quick, Kamiya, I've avoided doing a tentacle hentai joke the whole video, but I don't know how much longer I can hold out. Okay, now shoot it again before it turns into another eldritch abomination. There, thank you. Well, Iria, you may not get your bounty, but you did save the lives of 2 doofuses who shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Thank you.
Please accept this token. It's Ilya's way of expressing her gratitude.
Oh,
this case was just too weird. You're an Amazon, Jill!
Thanks. Usually whenever I ask girls for some of their hair, they get creeped out. Now they just need to take a picture so they can do a freeze-frame sitcom-style ending. So that's Zayram, a movie that's pretty cool, but it could have been a lot cooler. This movie has a great premise, an alien bounty hunter fighting a seemingly unstoppable killing machine in a virtual environment, but it frequently gets bogged down by giving way too much screen time to the electrician characters and sidelining Iria for a huge chunk of the movie. Still though, the movie has a great look, with lots of cool looking tech and some awesomely weird creature effects for a low budget movie. It reminds me a bit of the second Guyver movie in that there's times where it almost feels like watching an R-rated Power Rangers episode. Which would make sense, since the director also made some episodes of the show that became the basis for Power Rangers. Hell, they even got the voice of Lord Zed for Kamiya in the English dub. Not only did this get a release in the West, but it even became a mini franchise for a while, getting a sequel, an anime prequel, and even a PlayStation 1 game. This is one series where I wouldn't mind if it made a comeback, but if it does, hopefully they concentrate more on what it does well and less on the needless filler. And if it does come back, maybe they can settle on a pronunciation. Is it Zayram, Zaram? Well, anyway, that's all for now. Until next time.
Ah, trying to frighten us, eh? Huh.
You asked for it, so we deliver. It's the Throwback Value Menu from Pizza Hut. Your favorite starting at $3, featuring a personal pan just like you remember, and the iconic stuffed crust for only $10, and more. Check out everything on the Throwback Value Menu, only at Pizza Hut.
I think the film is still the same. Yes, also the emotion. When I shoot this film, I have an idea inside to do like a fairy tales for adults.
Filmmaker Dario Argento had already made a name for himself with films like The Bird with the Crystal Plumage and Deep Red, but it was with Suspiria that he truly solidified his legend and made what many consider to be his masterpiece. So let's take a look back at one of the most influential horror movies of all time with Suspiria. Before Suspiria's release in 1977, Italian director Dario Argento had proven himself a master of giallo thrillers. But with this film, he wanted to branch out into supernatural horror and make something more dreamlike. Co-writing the screenplay with his then partner Daria Nicolodi, Argento drew on fairy tales as well as some anecdotal stories from Nicolodi about her grandmother encountering witchcraft, which may or may not have been fabricated for publicity. In any case, Suspiria ended up being Argento's most accomplished and stylish movie to date, one that's still discussed and admired by horror fans and filmmakers to this day. I may have been a little harsh in my review of Argento's 3D Dracula movie, but that's only because I know the guy is capable of so much better. And this movie is a prime example of that. So without further ado, let's dive right into Suspiria. As soon as the credits start, the first thing that hits you about the movie is the awesome soundtrack by Goblin. Unfortunately, I can't play much of it on here without the video getting flagged, but the whole thing is on YouTube. So if you're into 70s instrumental prog rock, give it a listen. It's like if Italy had their own version of something like Tubular Bells. The next thing that hits you about the movie is the color. Good God, I had no idea airports in Europe were like entering the gates of hell. And things don't get much better once you're outside. Nope, I'm just gonna stay inside. You can get your bags yourself, lady. So the plot setup is Jessica Harper plays Susie Banyan, an American student going to study at a prestigious dance academy in Germany. I guess after her singing career didn't work out like she planned, she decided to try dance. Now, before I go any further, I just want to say that this movie looks incredible. The color, the lighting, the camera work, the set design, it all adds up to what is arguably the nicest looking horror movie that's ever been filmed. It's all very exaggerated and unnatural, but this just adds to the mood and atmosphere of the movie. In other words, this movie looks unnatural in a good way, as opposed to Dracula 3D, which looked like I was watching footage from a lost Sega CD game. And if you're wondering, yes, I am going to compare this movie to Dracula 3D a lot. Considering the same guy directed both, it's like night and day between the two of them. You know, I'm not sure if it's such a good idea for Susie to attend this school. Not only does she end up getting turned away during a rainstorm, but she also sees one of the students randomly running through the woods. The girl from the school runs to an apartment building, which looks like it was designed by somebody trying to resurrect a Ghostbusters demon, and ends up staying with a friend.
Well then, it's useless to try and explain it to you. You wouldn't understand.
Well, a lot of Argento's movies aren't exactly logical, but I wouldn't go that far. I mean, hell, I saw Dracula turn into a giant CGI praying mantis. I think I can follow this movie. Yeah, told you I was going to bring up Dracula 3D in this video.
It all seems so absurd. So fantastic.
She could be describing the plot or the cinematography. Both would apply. All right, I know I keep gushing about how the movie looks, but there's a good reason for that. Let me put it this way. You know those posters you can get that are barcodes of color from different movies? Well, here, pretty much every frame could be its own poster. If you're able to get your hands on a 4K copy of this movie, do so. Even if this girl thinks she's safe, turns out this place has a real problem with peeping Toms. Oh, and it's an Argento movie, which means she's probably about to be horribly killed. So here we have what is probably the most famous part of the movie. Argento said he wanted to start things off with a bang so that the audience would have no idea what to expect next, and oh boy does he. In fact, my only complaint about this sequence is that it's so effective, from the visuals to the soundtrack, that nothing else in the film really tops it. Most movies would end with something like this, and Argento puts it at the beginning. Well, we're only 15 minutes in, and even though I don't really know what the hell is going on, I'm still hooked. There's only one way to follow up a scene like...
Well, if only Jubilee was there at that dance school, then she could have just been able to firework all their heads off. And yes, the amount of Dracula movies at this point, you know, it's wild. Whether they're officially based off of the actual novel or not.
Like that, and that's with a cameo from the director. Susie goes to the school the next day where she meets the Fraulein Ratchet of the place, Miss Tanner, as well as the school's vice director, Madame Blank.
I offer you our academy's official welcome in the name of our director, who unfortunately is not here at the moment.
What do you mean the director's not here? I just saw him a second ago.
Something terrible, truly horrible has happened. One of our students, Pat Hingle, who was expelled just yesterday for improper conduct, was murdered last night by some madman.
Oh no, not Pat Hingle. Now how is he going to play Commissioner Gordon? Oh, wait, she was talking about the girl who fled the school and got killed earlier. Oh well, don't let something as trivial as a little murder get in the way of your studies.
We don't teach her how to dance here because we presume that our students already know how to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, then what the hell am I paying for then? Is the cafeteria good at least? I guess they specialize in other things at this school.
This is Pavlos, our general handyman. He's really ugly, isn't he? Don't be afraid to say so. Can't understand you anyway. He speaks only Romanian.
Well, I see Susie will really be able to brush up on her catty bitch skills here, and she is going to need to do that if she wants to survive at this school.
I once read that names which begin with the letter S are the names of snakes.
Are those two about to fight or fuck? Damn, this movie is photographed so well it even manages to make 70s floral wallpaper look nice. And did I mention this is a co-ed dance school?
Anyway, thanks a lot.
Oh no, it's nothing.
Don't you want to stay for a while?
Susie's so smitten with this guy, she's willing to overlook those awkwardly high-waisted jeans. No time for hookups now, though. Susie's got to remember what it is Pat said when she ran out of the school.
She was saying things that made no sense. Secret. Iris.
No, The Case of the Bloody Iris is another 70s Italian horror movie. One thing I should mention, I read some reviews of this movie, and quite a few of them said that for being set at a ballet school, there isn't much ballet in it, which is a very weird complaint to have about a horror movie. It's like watching a Cabin in the Woods horror movie and going, why aren't there more scenes of the characters roasting marshmallows? I can see why Susie chose to attend this school. If nothing else, the architecture is pretty striking. You just have to ignore the creepy kids and weird old ladies in the hallway. And also something like that might happen. Even worse, Susie seems to be catching some of the vapors during her dance practice. Maybe she should have gone to that school from Black Swan instead. Also, this is an aside, but in 1977, was everyone rocking the Princess Leia look?
You look better already. You've even got color back in your cheeks.
Not sure how.
Anybody else out there ever see any woman out in the public try to do the Princess Leia hair buns? Anybody? Really?
You can tell under that lighting, but whatever. And Susie, if I were you, I wouldn't take injections from this guy. He looks like he specializes in tattoos that are just numbers. Because of her health problems, Susie's told to stay at the school and what to eat.
Yeah, they put me on a restricted diet. And on a restricted diet, they give you wine.
Why are you surprised? It's Europe. They probably put that in baby formula. Besides, don't worry about the wine. You're gonna need a stiff drink after what happens next. Yeah, Argento said he wanted this movie to be like an adult fairy tale, and I've always said more fairy tales need floors of maggots and progressive disco rock soundtracks. Nothing to worry about, girls. This is all due to some spoiled meat. Besides, you're at a dance school, so you should all be anorexic anyways. Because of the maggots, the students are all forced to room together like people after a hurricane. Okay, girls, time for lights out. And by lights out, I mean pretend you're all hot dogs under a giant heat lamp. This goes back to what I said about the lighting in the film not being realistic in the slightest, but combined with the music, it really sets the mood and manages to make you uneasy, even when there's technically not much happening.
That's her. One who's snoring. Listen. Hear that whistle? It's exactly the same.
You know you've got a movie that works when you can even make somebody snoring creepy. Usually that'd just be a normal part of bunking together with other people. Hey, you know what this movie could really use? Some implied violence against children.
You lousy, disgusting dog has bitten Albert. He took a piece out of Albert's arm.
Well, just be glad he didn't get bit by Lucio Fulci's dog. Otherwise, he might have lost an eye.
Then get out, you and your dog!
All right, I'll leave, and I'm taking my stylish camera angles with me. Now, remind me again, what country does this take place in? Of course, Ireland. Well, that's enough polka for one evening. Better head home. One little touch I like is that in contrast to the rest of the movie, lots of the scenes outside the school have a more normal color scheme. Still some very nice looking shots though. Well, this guy may have been fired from his job, but at least he still has his health.
Who's there?
Something tells me that's not gonna last very long though. Yeah, I was right. In some versions of the movie, this dog attack sequence is cut out, which is a little odd considering it's no more graphic than any of the other deaths in the movie.
I just wanted to talk to you about some of the things that have been happening here lately.
Oh, I know you're upset by Daniel's death, as we all have been.
No, but it's more than that.
I mean, I've only been here a couple days and already 2 people have been brutally killed. Am I gonna get like a discount on my tuition or a pass to use the gym? Something? All right, fine. You can use the pool, but you have to keep your shirt on like a 12-year-old.
Or just demand your money back.
Fat kid. Susie's not the only one who suspects there's something weird going on. Another student, Sarah, says that Pat discovered a terrible secret about the school and that's why she ran away. But I can't imagine there's something sinister going on in a place where even the swimming pool looks like it's used to conduct human sacrifices.
Welcome back to This Week in the Rippaverse. 3 books going up for pre-order this week. Let's keep it tight. First, Roncomp Exclave #1, written by the Soska sisters with interior art by Bruno Abdias. This one puts 2 of the Rippaverse's most calculating villains front and center. Michael Copper and Lillian Renashi run Roncomp, and with the Exclave crisis throwing Florspark into chaos, they see the end of the world as the perfect cover for plans of their own. The Soskas at full power, and another tie-in to the main Exclave event. 4 covers, including a foil...
Sarah says that Pat left some notes behind that might clue them in on what's going on, but bad news. Not only is she suddenly unable to find them, but I think some aliens might be landing outside. Jeez, I never knew red and blue Christmas-style lighting could appear so hellish. In interviews, Argento said the color scheme was influenced by old Disney movies, specifically Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but it also kind of reminds me of 1950s EC horror comics. In fact, I wonder if this was an influence on Creepshow at all. The bold colors combined with the blaring soundtrack almost gives us a proto-music video vibe at times, but Argento does still remember to deliver on the scares. Ah, yes. It wouldn't be a 70s Italian horror flick without a woman being chased by a mysterious figure in black holding a straight razor. Razors were kind of like the chainsaws or machetes of giallo flicks. Okay, looks like Sarah got away. Okay, 1, why does the school have a room like that? And 2, why didn't she look down? Oh well, even if it doesn't make sense, it's still a cool visual. And if you thought you were just getting stuck with the barbed wire, no dice. You're still getting a close shave. Well, another student's been killed, which means there's only one person who can help Susie now, and that's... what? Udo Kier? No, don't go to him. He's probably playing a bad guy, even if he does have some useful backstory about the school.
She had discovered that the Tam Academy was founded in 1895 by a certain Helena Marcos, and that the local people believed her to be a witch.
Why did they think she was a witch?
And I read that among the initiated, she went by the name the Black Queen, and she founded the Tam Academy. At first, a sort of school of dance and occult sciences.
Okay, that probably didn't help. Not only does Udo have lots of valuable information for Susie, but Professor Substitute Klaus Kinski here can also tell her all about witches.
Do you believe in the existence of witches?
I have known some women who are said to be witches.
Okay, but if this is just leading to a joke about your ex-wives, I'm out of here.
Their goal is to accumulate great personal wealth, but that can only be achieved by injury to others.
Well, I don't know if you need to be a witch to do that. You could just take the Bernie Madoff route and start a Ponzi scheme. He also says that covens have a head witch, and if they're killed, the rest of the coven will be destroyed. So I guess witches are kind of like Lost Boys vampires. All right, this is one little nitpick I have with the movie. This guy offers up such specific and useful information about the witches, including how to defeat them, that you'd swear it's going to be revealed he has some connection or past experience with them, but no. He's just a convenient source of exposition for both Susie and the audience. It's almost like they said, hey, we've been building up this mystery for most of the movie. How do we resolve it? Just have a couple characters we've never seen before come in and explain everything. Now that she knows about the witches, Susie also figures out they've been doing something to her food and promptly flushes it down the toilet, which looks like it's in a strip club bathroom. Now, you know what? I haven't compared this movie to Dracula 3D in a while. Hey, thanks, movie. All right, admittedly, this bat is a little fake looking, but it's still a hell of a lot better than most of the effects in Dracula 3D. So even when this movie stumbles a little bit, it's still way better than that one. Okay, even though the bat was fake, because this movie's Italian, I like to think they put a real one in there just for that part. Susie figures out that instead of leaving at night, the staff all seem to gather in a secret part of the school and decides to follow their footsteps. Here's another thing Argento does really well here. He uses the setting almost as if it's another character in the movie, giving us lots of long, creepy shots of the hallways or just lingering on the architecture. It reminds me a lot of what Kubrick did with the Overlook Hotel in The Shining. Okay, looks like Susie reached a dead end. But wait, wasn't there something about an iris earlier? Ah, yes. The iris reveals a secret passage. I see this school has the same puzzles as an early Resident Evil game. Actually, never mind. In a Resident Evil game, you'd have to find a medallion of a unicorn, put it in a statue, revealing a secret compartment with a map leading you to the iris that you could then use to open the door. And then fight like a giant spider boss or something. Before we get to the big finale, here's another bit of trivia. Originally, Argento wanted the students at the school to all be under the age of 12, but after his father Claudio pointed out that a movie involving children being brutally murdered would likely get banned, he changed them to adults but didn't rewrite any of the dialogue, which would explain some things.
We're gonna get rid of that bitch of an American girl. Vanish. Just vanish. Make her disappear.
Okay, now that Susie knows the witches are up to no good, time to see if she can get a refund on her tuition and get the hell out of here. Actually, you know what? She might just want to leave immediately. Just make sure not to bump anything on your way out.
I can't keep track of all my subscriptions, but my BFF Experian can and could help me easily cancel the ones I don't need. Get the Experian app now. Experian.
Who is it? Who's there?
You had one job, Susie. Considering there's only a few minutes left, this finale manages to pack a lot in. We've got invisible witches, items randomly exploding, Susie's dead friend coming back as a zombie, not to mention probably the most famous shot in the entire movie. Okay, Susie has to kill Helena Marcos, but how is she going to do that? Glass peacock feathers. A witch's one weakness. Yeah, how do you like the crystal plumage on this bird, bitch? Oh, and when that guy mentioned earlier that you only have to kill the head witch to destroy the coven, he didn't just mean they'd be lost without a leader. Oh no. Because not only do all the other witches start dying too, but the whole school starts to self-destruct. Shit, this really is like a Resident Evil game.
All employees proceed to the conference platform. All employees proceed to the conference platform.
Don't expect much of an epilogue either, because Susie escapes, the school explodes, and that's it. Roll credits. Not only was Suspiria a hit in Europe, but it was also Argento's first big success in North America, even if it initially had to be cut by about 8 minutes in order to secure an R rating. And surprisingly for a 70s horror flick, it actually got some decent reviews from critics, although one person who wasn't impressed was Gene Siskel, who called it a weak imitation of The Exorcist. Okay, Gene, with all due respect, I know you're dead and can't hear me, and even if you weren't, you probably wouldn't be watching this. But Beyond the Door is a weak imitation of The Exorcist. This movie is not. In the years since, Suspiria's reputation has only grown to the point where it's now considered one of the greatest horror movies ever made, with such high-profile admirers like John Carpenter, Guillermo del Toro, and Nicholas Winding Refn, just to name a few. It was also the first in what Argento would call his Three Mothers trilogy, which also includes Inferno and The Mother of Tears. There was even a remake in 2018, which had a much more polarizing reception. I can see why fans of the original didn't want to see it remade, because it's one of the most gorgeous and unique horror movies ever. Some critics say the movie is all style without much substance, and I will admit, plot-wise, it's nothing special. But this is a movie that...
Also, I'd like to bring up that Gene Siskel's favorite movie was Saturday Night Fever. So, yeah, maybe he's not the kind of guy that would have the taste that would lead to him wanting to like a movie like this.
It's all about the mood and atmosphere, just letting the visuals and soundtrack wash all over you like a waking nightmare. The experience is more like admiring an exquisite painting than listening to a detailed story, but the impact is still undeniable. If you're a fan of horror movies, you owe it to yourself to see this at least once. Even if the story doesn't grab you, I guarantee parts of it will still stick with you for a long time. And I just thought of something. If this movie has a score by Goblin, does that mean there's a low-budget Italian ripoff with a score by Nilbog? Well, it's all for now. Until next time.
You see that gorgeous smile? He's felt very handsome ever since he got those false teeth.
Man, another video nasty. Good 10% off Italian filmmaker Dario Argento. But so far, the only movie I've done on this show that was actually directed by him is that disappointing 3D Dracula movie from 2012. Yeah. Anyway, to change things up, I'm going to do a movie that Argento directed back in the 80s when he was actually good. See, I can be fair on this show. Sometimes. Tenebrae, or Tenebrae, or Unsane if you're watching the original US release, is a 1982 Italian horror movie directed by Dario Argento, who had gotten success in the United States a few years earlier with Suspiria. Tenebrae was intended as something of a return to Argento's roots, and a throwback to Italian giallo thrillers of the 1970s that influenced the slasher movie genre that was taking off in America in the early 80s. It was also something of an Argento family affair, being produced by Dario's father Salvatore and brother Claudio Argento, and I'm sure if his daughter Asia had been of age at the time, he probably would have included a nude scene for her in the movie as well. It was also put on Britain's infamous video nasties list, being banned in the country until 1999, and the North American release was cut by around 10 minutes and retitled Unsane, I guess because they thought people wouldn't know what the word tenebrae meant. It means darkness, by the way, so I don't know why they didn't just retitle it that. All that heavy censorship meant that this was one of Argento's more overlooked films, but recently it's been reevaluated as one of his best. Now, Dracula 3D, on the other hand, that movie's still considered a piece of shit. Come on, movie, I don't want to read the novel first.
And I would say that the beginning of the end for the director was in '98 when he did a version of the Phantom of the Opera where the Phantom isn't disfigured. And that's just the beginning of all of the so bad it's good qualities of that Phantom of the Opera movie.
First, I'm lazy.
The impulse had become irresistible. There was only one answer to the fury that tortured him.
Hey, that's not what that said.
Every humiliation which stood in his way could be swept aside.
Yeah, you say that, but there's no sweeping aside the humiliation of Dracula 3D. I will say this, though. It is nice to be watching something that looks like an actual movie and not raw footage for a Sega CD game that never got released. And check out that soundtrack. Okay, the music also kind of sounds like something from a Sega game, but in a good way. Like a lot of Argento's movies, the soundtrack here was done by Italian prog rock group Goblin. Well, okay, technically it wasn't, but 3 members of Goblin worked on the music here, so it's basically a Goblin soundtrack. I mean, if you have John, Paul, and George, I think that counts as the Beatles. Despite all the opening narration about murder, I really wish somebody would kill this cyclist for taking up an entire lane. Wait, he's going to the airport and had somebody drive his luggage there? Oh, now I really want him dead. Unfortunately, he's our main character, so I doubt that's going to happen anytime soon. This is Peter Neal, played by Anthony Franciosa, a successful horror writer who's taking a trip to Rome to promote his latest book, Tenebrae. Hey, that's also the name of the movie. You might want to hold off on his trip, though. I think there's a slasher movie killer loose in Rome.
Aspetta.
I'm sure she'll be fine. Wait a second, shoplifting? Looks like there's 2 dangerous criminals in this store.
Elsa Manny, 12 convictions for shoplifting. You should have learned by now.
Wait, so she's a famous shoplifter? Is that a thing in Italy? How's she gonna get out of this one?
Come on, give me a break. You're not gay, are you?
Hey, I'm not gay. I'm gonna let you go and then have sex with you later just to prove it. Phew, that was a close one. I sure can't wait to relax and enjoy an evening of not being murdered. Ooh, guess that won't be happening. I have a feeling the killer is also the guy who was narrating at the beginning, mainly because he tears out pages of the book and chokes her with them. Okay, that might not be at the top of Argento's most memorable kills, but it's a hell of a lot less goofy than this. Seriously, Argento made a movie where Dracula turns into a giant praying mantis. That's a real thing that exists. I will say, this is probably the only slasher movie that has a POV shot of the killer delivering fan mail. Anyway, Peter arrives in Rome and meets with his agent, Bulmer, played by John Saxon. Let's see. John Saxon isn't playing a cop, which means he might be the villain. Bulmer set up an interview for Peter that I'm sure is going to go well.
Tenebrae is a sexist novel. Why do you despise women so much? Women as victims, ciphers, the male heroes with their hairy macho bullshit. How can you say it isn't?
Jesus, lady, what the hell did he do? Say he didn't like that 2019 Charlie's Angels movie or something? As you can probably tell, this character was Argento's way of addressing people who accused his work of promoting misogyny and violence in real life, and just critics of horror movies in general who were becoming increasingly vocal in the 80s. And with that in mind, I'm a little surprised he didn't make her look like this.
If you believe the old rumor involving Paul, Ringo's the last one left. Well, yes.
That's all this movie is. It's just mindless, bloody violence.
It's okay, though. They're actually friends, I guess. And speaking of things never changing...
I didn't want them to think you had an entourage. They love your books, but they hate success.
Nice to know things were the same even before the internet. Peter also meets his assistant Anne, played by Argento's then-wife Daria Nicolodi, as well as a local guy Bulmer hired named Gianni, but something went wrong with his luggage.
Who could have done such a thing?
I don't know, one of these guys? Man, how could this trip get any worse?
I'm Captain Germani of the Rome Homicide Squad. I apologize, but the girl was killed 5 hours ago.
Look, I just write books where women get killed. I don't do it in real life. Why does everybody think that?
A girl called Al-Samani, an inveterate shoplifter.
Again with the shoplifting thing. Was that a huge problem in Italy? They almost mention it like it's a bigger deal than the murder. The police are talking to Peter because not only did the killer stuff pages from his book down her throat, but he also killed her with a straight razor like the killer in the novel. So clearly Peter's got an obsessed fan who really wants him to sign one of his murder photos. Only one thing can help this situation: a stiff drink.
I'd offer you
And yes, Mr. Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, Roger Ebert.
something harder, but you don't drink on duty, right?
I only drink on duty.
Does an Italian drink on duty? Most of them get hammered on their first paper route. The killer sent a letter to Peter, and the police are going to get busy solving this case right after they pound a few scotches. Regarding the look of this movie, it doesn't have the bright, oversaturated colors that Argento used on his previous couple movies that he became famous for in the US, but considering this was meant to be a throwback to the giallo films made in the early 70s, including Argento's own films like The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, I think the more realistic colors here work with the tone of the movie. And we can't have a 70s giallo throwback without an ominous call from the killer.
Hello, Peter Neal speaking.
Not anxiety or fear, but freedom. You wrote those words, page 46.
Oh shit, it's the ASMR killer. Next he's gonna lick the microphone and it's gonna be really gross. The killer ends up getting away, but I just want to point something out. You notice how the cinematography here is actually moody and stylish and doesn't look like some random sci-fi channel original movie that could have been directed by anybody? That was nice when Argento made movies like that, wasn't it? We even get some stylish flashback sequences in this movie. I probably can't show where the scene is going. Unfortunately, one guy ruins the mood by getting slap happy. It's all good though. Not only do the other guys chase him down, but the lady even ends up dominating him by making him play a game that even Dan Schneider would think is a bit much. Somehow I think book critic lady would still have a problem with this though. She even seems to have a problem with guys playing arcade games. Okay, actually she doesn't like her girlfriend hitting on guys right in front of her. Oh, you didn't know this character is supposed to be a lesbian? You can really tell by how incredibly into this kiss the actress seems to be. There's a face that says, alright, I'll do it, but just don't do too many takes, okay? So what are they arguing about?
You make me sick.
All right. You want to know what happened? He was terrific. He made you look pathetic when we made love. For a start,
When did this go from a horror movie to a telenovela? And you can stop with the red herring, lady. We know you're not the killer. You're probably going to be the next victim. I can't show all of this next part without risking the video getting flagged, but there's a memorable continuous shot that lasts over 2.5 minutes, where the camera pans around the lady's home, occasionally stopping to look in through the windows, almost like you're taking the point of view of a spirit voyeuristically looking in on them. Why? Because this was made back in 1982 when Argento actually gave a shit. And speaking of memorable camera work, just look at this next kill. Yeah, that's right. We get a POV shot through a shirt. This is for giving my book a bad review. Oh, and we also get a kill involving broken glass, because, you know, Argento tends to like those. Plus, she's got a pose for the movie's poster. Peter gets another letter from the killer, and just think, if this were made today, the killer would probably be spamming his inbox instead.
Sic transit Gloria Lesby.
What does that mean?
It means our killer most likely had a higher education and studied Latin.
Nah.
And yes, no. I think she's exponentially too old to attract Dan. No, just ask Emily Ratajkowski.
I think that's just a fancy way of saying he just killed 2 lesbians. Even though book critic lady is dead, Peter has a TV interview with a creepy guy who also implies that his books might encourage bad behavior.
Tenebrae is about human perversion and its effects on society. I'd like to know how you see the effects of deviant behavior on our lives.
Look, man, it's the 80s. Instead of blaming books for deviant behavior, can't you just use a Judas Priest album as a scapegoat or something? This movie's theme of whether violence in art could potentially influence violence in real life, and asking whether the creator should be held responsible for it, not only reflects a lot of the criticism that Argento dealt with at the time, but also stands in stark contrast to Dracula 3D, which made me want to get violent in real life. Okay, I know I keep bringing that up, but it is like night and day between these two movies. The police are still baffled as to who's committing the murders, but Peter has some ideas of his own.
Could it be somebody I know?
Yes, spoiler alert. Of course, it doesn't help that just like in most Giallo movies, pretty much every incidental character is creepy. Hey, don't mind me, lady. I'm just standing here adding some spooky ambiance. I've even been working on my laugh. We also get a dog scare, but while in most 80s horror flicks this would be a one-off fake-out, here it's actually real. Wait a second. Animal, Italian director? I think I know where this is going. Yep, I was right. Actually,
and also those upskirt shots. And yeah, we all love seeing Ebert irrationally hating that movie.
I don't blame her for doing that, because believe it or not, the fucker is still chasing her. Jesus, are we gonna learn that the dog was actually the killer this whole time? Good news, you got away from the dog. Bad news, you just wandered into Ted Bundy's arts and crafts studio. I gotta say, the killer's got a pretty swank house. I wonder what the rent on a place like this would go for in Rome. I also see the Godzilla ninjas moved on to asking for more Italian horror reviews. Hopefully this video gets him to leave me alone for a little while. And he also seems to have moved on from murdering people with straight razors. Oh shit, a realistically done axe death. Usually I'm used to seeing ones where a person's head gets lopped off in one slice like their neck's made of butter. And I think she's dead, dude. The lawnmower is just overkill. You know, with so many murders happening around me, maybe I should leave Rome. Then again, I haven't seen the Colosseum yet, so I guess I could stay a little longer. Thank God Detective Germani's there to help him out.
By the way, I finished your book. I guessed who the killer was on page 30. Page 30, never happened before.
I'm saying your writing's getting hacky, Peter. Okay, time to run through the list of red herrings and see which one is most likely the killer.
Cristiano Berti, the TV critic, called Tenebrae a novel about aberrant behavior, human perversion. Cristiano Berti lives only 3 blocks from here.
This is paranoia.
Maria's body was found in Eu.
You could mention it to the captain.
No way.
Yeah, don't bother telling the police about the obvious creepy guy that's obsessed with your writing. Instead, just investigate the guy's place and look for clues yourself. I'm sure that'll go well.
This is boring. All detection's boring.
Hey, come on, fellas. I know this movie's a bit of a slow burn, but compared to the last Argento movie I did on this show, it's a fucking masterpiece. All right, remember, the plan is to ask him how much he paid for this place, then find out if he's the killer. Okay, I think we can probably eliminate him as a suspect. Oh, and by the way, the only thing the killer hates more than red herrings is Argyle sweaters, so you better get the hell out of there, kid.
What did you see, the killer? I don't know. I didn't see anything except the axe.
The camera work made sure he was very well hidden.
You've got to go to the police. What you saw could break the case.
I didn't see shit.
Okay. You should still probably go to the police. People still keep getting murdered around Peter, but on the plus side, he's probably going to bang his assistant. I'm sure that won't lead to any awkwardness.
Peter, in the morning, we'll both forget about this, okay?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was planning. Oh shit, more stylish cinematography. I think I figured it out. The killer is Argento back when he actually made good movies. I mean, those are his hands whenever they show the killer's gloves. Despite Peter wanting to leave Rome, his agent wants him to stay. He's got a book to sell, damn it.
You know what we'll do? I'll book a suite for you at the Hotel Florio in the hills. Tell everybody you're going to New York. Just lay low till the...
Although remember, I think this was made before Nightmare on Elm Street, so John Saxon in this, well, not quite doing that sort of horror stuff consistently yet.
Publishers and the financiers come back. I mean, it's $1 million deal.
They even want to make a movie out of your book. They got that Suspiria guy signed on to direct it. And how's this for a shocking twist? Turns out John Saxon's having an affair with Peter's ex-fiancée.
I feel so...
And the way she dramatically walked into the room and all that, another thing that looks like it's straight from a telenovela. Oh, Esteban, take me away from Rodrigo.
Sleazy.
Babe, it's an Italian horror movie. Everybody's a little sleazy here. Meanwhile, Peter tries to help the police with their investigation. Here, you can start by getting your fingerprints all over everything.
You know, there's a sentence in a Conan Doyle book. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
Yeah, I wouldn't eliminate the impossible just yet. I mean, this is an Argento movie. For all we know, something like this could happen. It's been a while since Peter got a letter from the killer, but I see his ex-fiancée now has a secret admirer. I don't know what's in that package, but hopefully it's something that'll go nicely with whatever the hell this is in the background. POV shots are always pretty common in slasher movies, but I think this is the first one where we see the killer get smashed at a bar. I'll have a Negroni, please. Here's a fun fact. According to Argento, this movie actually takes place in the future after a catastrophic event has left the world more sparsely populated. Okay. Gotta say I didn't pick up on that at all, and I'm kind of wondering if Argento just said it to fuck with people. You know, I kind of wish more directors said stuff like that about their movies. What, you didn't know Driving Miss Daisy actually takes place millions of years in the future after a nuclear holocaust, and all the characters are actually hyper-evolved cockroach people? Well, guess what? It does. The director said so. In most movies, John Saxon would either be the villain or someone who helps stop the bad guy, but here he's just another victim. Damn. John Saxon was just 2 days from banging Peter's ex-fiancée again. Later that night, Gianni goes back to the house where the TV presenter was murdered to see if he can find any clues to the killer's identity. I'm sure he'll be fine. He does, however, remember one important detail that lets us know who the killer is.
I killed them all.
Cristiano.
I killed them all. I killed them all.
He was the murderer.
Ah, so the guy who got murdered by the killer is the killer.
And yes, that I want more people to say stuff like that too. If only to make Maggie Gyllenhaal very angry.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. The creepy TV presenter confesses that he killed them all, implying that he's the guy who killed all the women with the straight razor, just like in Peter's novel. But then he ended up getting murdered by another Giallo movie killer? I've heard of copycat murderers, but this is the first time I've seen one that decided to go straight to the source. Congratulations, Gianni, you solved the case. Sort of. Unfortunately, there's an important clue you missed. Another body. Yours. Okay, on the one hand, by coming back to the crime scene, Gianni got to see who both killers were. Too bad he won't be able to tell anybody. I wish I could say the same for Jane, who apparently never heard of the phrase TMI.
I did something so It's like there are two people in me.
Wait, so in addition to banging John Saxon, you got Eiffel Tower too? Really took that breakup with Peter hard, huh?
Help me, please. Don't let me kill myself.
Don't worry about that. Somebody else will take care of that for you. Damn, I was kind of wondering how this became a video nasty since so far it didn't have that much in the way of gore, but...
Then, cutting off a woman's arm with one swipe would, be considered nasty.
I see Argento saved the bloodiest kill for the climax. Seriously, this is the kind of blood-gushing kill you'd see in a Sam Raimi movie.
Good people of Oz, fear me not.
No, not that kind of Sam Raimi movie, this kind. And since the movie's already gonna get banned, fuck it. Might as well get another axe kill in there too. So now that we're almost at the end, are you ready for the shocking revelation of who the killer is? Like the second killer, not like that first killer who got killed by like this killer, the second killer. That's right. Peter is actually the killer. Wait, what? Okay, I think I can explain this. Peter's actually the guy in the flashbacks who slapped that lady and then subsequently got held down and humiliated by her. And instead of developing a BDSM foot fetish like a regular deviant, he decided to go, I'll show you, and killed her, developing a deep-seated hatred for women that was reawakened when the TV presenter started killing people like in his novels. Okay, I guess that means book critic lady was sort of right when she implied that Peter putting violence against women in his art meant that he hated them in real life, but Argento's still cool. Whenever he kills women, it's cute. Oh, and as for why Peter killed John Saxon, nobody bangs my ex, bro. I don't care if you were in Enter the Dragon.
When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. I don't know if I should hate you or feel sorry for you.
He's a murderer, so I'm gonna lean towards hating him. Okay, I'll go quietly, but at least let me shave first so it'll look good for my mugshot. All right, look, dude, we already got the video nasty classification with the last kill. You can stop now. You know, it's not often you see a murder mystery where the killer is taken care of partway through by another killer. Imagine you're watching a Halloween movie and all of a sudden Michael Myers gets killed at the halfway point and it's revealed Dr. Loomis is the new killer. Oh, and speaking of Halloween...
He got up and ran away.
You know, even without the fake razor, I think Peter probably would have fooled them. This cop seems pretty oblivious to what's going on. Okay, now I definitely hate you and don't feel sorry for you. And you know the first rule of filmmaking, if you introduce a weird out-of-place sculpture, you damn well better use it in the climax. Damn, death by abstract modern art. That's like the most Italian death ever. Oh, and don't expect any sort of epilogue, because that's right where the movie ends. As I mentioned earlier, the movie was heavily cut and released as Unsane in North America, where it got mostly negative reviews. But after the release of the full uncut version, the film got reappraised and is now considered one of Argento's best. Well, I wouldn't go quite that far. This is still an interesting throwback to Argento's early work after the colorful, supernaturally tinged works that made him popular in America. And for people whose only exposure to Argento is from my Dracula 3D video, this movie shows there was a time where he made finely crafted, well-photographed movies that had a big influence on the horror genre. If you're a fan of 70s giallo flicks like Torso and Twitch of the Death Nerve, Tenebrae is one of the last films from that genre's golden age, which is fitting since Argento was one of its pioneers. So there you go, I actually did a good Argento movie. Hopefully that'll show people there's more to him than just CGI praying mantises. Well, it's all for now. Until next time. When the hell did my walls get painted?
Oh, that was nice, wasn't it? I think it was. And we had all this with enough time to spare that now we've got our friend right here, Jubilee, all ready. Oh, yes. Making things all better, doesn't she? Just a little jubilation. And, well, do you think it turned out well? Because always, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what I think of my work, it's what you think. So did this turn out well or not? This is what I'm wondering about. If you got this going. Well, at least RJ thinks it came out well. Or maybe in the future we might see Jubilee getting involved in one of those Al TV segments I showed you with Eminem. You know what I'm saying? Yes. 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 Yeah, yes, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I've thought about killing it before. Yeah. Yeah. Now we go. Now we go. Oh yeah. What? Future. Can you hold me? Future. That's right. What? Put the 3-1-3. What? You are 3-1-3. Yo. Fuck this. What? You should say fuck the free world. Tommy burst the door, just whipping her ass sooner for this furniture. And nothing, you idiot, because Dr. Dre's dead. He's locked in my basement. Walking around, grabbing you know what, lipping you know who. Yeah, but he's so cute, though. What's going on in your parents' bedrooms? Because sometimes I want to get on TV and let loose, and I can't, but it's cool for Tom Green to hump a dead moose. Or there's also, touching the horses. But on that note, I want to thank you all for watching. Subscribe so the channel will reach 10,000 subs. Become a member today and shop my art store with the first link in the description where you can buy my art or commission me or support me with a donation. Or you can order issue 4 of my comic book Encrypted. My regular copy is $5, an autographed copy is $10, an autographed and sketching copy is $20, or you can get a 1-year subscription for $60, or 1-year subscription with your copies autographed for $90. Tomorrow I will have new shorts at 5 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 and 6. I'll have a new video at 6:30 and be live again at 8. So until then, felines, slam it, lick it, suck it, and see you, Space Cowboy.